get in Rakesh Arora as well, who's joining us. He's needs no introduction, a really cement veteran. Rakesh, great to have you with us here. Thanks very much for your time. So just to mention some of those points, right? Natural for them to launch an open offer, consolidate their holding. So Mr. Radhakrishnan Damani, an entity is owned about a little over 20%, so that's out. Promoters own about 29% or so. So that's one large chunk. So would you expect that to happen in the coming days? That is one. And second, how is the deal valued at about $85 per ton? I was saying that the Kesoram transaction was just under about $100, if I remember correctly. So, but on a longer sort of timeline of deals, this could be in line or maybe slightly lower. What's the sense?
Okay, so first of all, UltraTech has classified this as a financial investment. So I don't think any open offer is coming. Otherwise, they would have said, it is a strategic investment. So I think number two, I think that probably it is not the Invst Cement promoter who has sold. We need clarity on that. We think it is probably the other large shareholder who has sold, and UltraTech has got a foot into the door, maybe to preempt from their main competitor who recently acquired Penna and probably is looking to acquire a few more. So maybe it's a foot in the door to stop their main competitor from acquiring it. Number three, I would say is that, this is no consolidation till the time UltraTech gets in the seat and is able to, turn around this whole asset. Otherwise, it is a subpar asset, and $85 is a very, very fair price. I don't think there's any more to it which was possible. This is the best price. So I think it's a great opportunity for the minority shareholders of Invst Cement to lock in an exit till the time they get any kind of clarity, because I don't feel that the deal value would be any better even if they were to go ahead and acquire the remaining stake and come out with an open offer and all that. So I think this is a good time for minority shareholders to actually exit.
But Rakesh, what you're saying is, from an UltraTech's perspective, minority shareholders, yes, you're saying they should lock in profits. But from an UltraTech perspective, it would make absolute sense for them to launch that open offer and consolidate it. And that's how they'd be able to drive a turnaround, operational efficiency, etc., right?
So Prashant, given the deal valuation and given the quality of assets, I don't expect UltraTech to pay any penny more for the remaining stake also. And so I think, even if they were to launch an open offer tomorrow, the stock will trade at a discount to the run-up to that open offer. And the upside to Invst Cement will be very limited. The only, remote probability is that UltraTech goes aggressive and does a hostile takeover. In that case, there's upside. But if that was the case, UltraTech would not have termed it as a financial investment. So I think that possibility is extremely, extremely low. So, and see, UltraTech is a sensible player. They are unlikely to do anything which is extravagant.
I was just trying to figure out what UltraTech does with this financial investment itself. You're saying that, the only way they can derive more value out of this acquisition is if they get the driver's seat or they get into the seat. Is there a possibility? I mean, how do you weigh UltraTech's next move here now that it's classified it as a financial investment? So I think if, I was thinking from UltraTech point of view, I would wait for, this company to wear down a little bit more and then acquire it at a reasonable valuation. Today, probably Invst Cement promoters are not willing to sell out. Otherwise, they would have acquired the whole thing at one go. So I think Invst Cement is already under duress. In the last 2 years, they have made substantial losses. And this year is starting at now no better footing. So they are probably going to do losses even this year also. And so UltraTech has time on its side. They have put the foot in the door. They can wait for a year or two. And, already you saw earlier this year, UltraTech, Invst Cement had to sell part of its assets to repay debt and, service its interest costs. So I think it's just a matter of time that this company folds out and UltraTech will be able to acquire it at a much cheaper cost.
Now, Rakesh, you were just speaking yesterday afternoon when you spoken about more consolidation likely within the cement space. I know you mentioned that they've classified this as a financial investment, as UltraTech, but there are plenty of such other cement companies down south which look potential acquisition targets, right? Sagar Cements just made an acquisition last year, which was Andhra Cements. But there are plenty of other such companies. Do you see this trend continuing within this space, and particularly within the southern part of the country, where the bigger players looking to acquire smaller players down south?
It is quite possible because southern companies are facing financial duress, and if they are willing to sell, probably there's a deal waiting to happen. But as I've been mentioning in my various interviews, that the deal value would not be too far from $85 plus minus $10 here and there per ton. So for investors who are looking to play that theme, just make sure that you're not buying at a very high price. You'll be left hanging. With those kind of stocks.
Valuations and targets aside, what do you think this investment does to the market dynamics of the South? Because you recently had the big deal between Adani's and Penna Cement. Now this one gets a foot in the door. What happens to the existing players in the South with the presence of larger players now with these deals, etc.? What happens to the market dynamics there?
So market dynamics doesn't change at all because UltraTech is not calling shots on this asset. But some of the other players, as we were discussing, could get excited and might think that there's a possibility to exit. So consolidation might happen in southern India. Already the market share of top 5 is around 55%, not 42%, which you guys were reporting a little bit earlier from some other broker report. And if this deal was to happen fully, then maybe the top 5 would have 67%. So I think that's a decent consolidation. And if they can get few more, so 75-80%, you get pricing power and, return ratios can improve.
Well, in that case, now that you're mentioning that this might just continue within the southern part of the country with companies that are facing financial stress over there, do you see this trend percolating to the other parts of the country as well? Because there are a lot of smaller players in the eastern part of the country, say the likes of a Star Cement, or in the northern part of the country, say Orient Cement. I know the management has mentioned that they are not on the block. But now that, considering the deals that are taking place right now, do you see the cement space getting more organized and becoming a more big player play going forward?
There are chances that in any case consolidation is happening because the top 2 companies are growing much faster than the smaller companies. Number 2, other region companies are not in duress. Their balance sheets are strong. They are doing good profitability. So they are in no pressure to sell at a cheap valuation, which these 2 companies are looking to acquire. So currently, South is the only place where there is a possibility of a deal happening because the valuation gap is not much between what the seller is expecting and what the buyer is willing to pay. But in other markets, maybe there could be a valuation gap, and there are not too many large capacities for these guys to go in. So they would rather go, organic route, put up capacities themselves, which cost these days $70 to $80 per ton.
Final question then, a 2-part question. The first one is, because it's a financial investment and any sort of strategic move has moved down the road, how should analysts value this in the overall scheme of UltraTech Cements? Largely because there is a big gap in the valuations of the two, and were they to entirely acquire it, then maybe the valuation of the acquired asset would increase. So how should analysts look at that? That's point number 1. And secondly, what happens to the other players? I'm talking specifically about names like Shree Cement, etc., who were looking for acquisitions. Do they now scout? So how do you view Shree Cement, UltraTech Cement, and the others?
So first of all, in terms of valuing this asset, as an analyst, I would straight away do a 50% discount to whatever they spent. So 1870 crore they've spent. I would just give a 50% discount to this investment. So the UltraTech stock is up, but the valuation, some of parts would actually go down. Number 2, you're talking about other companies like Shree Cement, etc. Obviously, they also have to grow, but Shree has largely grown organically. They have been very efficient in putting up capacities. So unless they are changing their mode and they want to go very aggressive, they will continue with their organic growth plans.
All right, Rakesh, we leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining in and sharing with us your views on this mega deal that took place within the cement space. Rakesh Arora there of Go India Advisors. But time for a short break here on Chartbusters. We'll get you more on the markets and specific stocks on the other side, barring cement, of course. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.